I want you to pause for a moment. Just breathe and ask yourself something honestly. When was the last time you truly felt at peace? Not distracted, not just passing time, but deeply, quietly at peace inside your own heart. If you've been feeling lonely lately, if the days feel longer than they used to, if the silence in your home sometimes feels heavier than it should, then this message is for you. And I want you to know right now, you are not alone in feeling this way. Not even close. There are millions of people, just like you, who have lived full lives, raised families, built careers, loved deeply, and now find themselves in a quieter chapter. A chapter that no one really prepared them for. A chapter where the world slows down, but the heart still longs for connection, meaning, and peace. And today, I'm here to remind you of something very important. This chapter of your life is not the end of your story. In many ways, it can become the most meaningful part of it. You see, loneliness is something that can creep in slowly. It doesn't always arrive with a loud noise. Sometimes, it shows up quietly, in the empty chair at the dinner table, in the phone that doesn't ring as often, in the long afternoons that seem to stretch forever. And if you've been feeling this, I want you to hear me clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. This is not weakness. This is not failure. This is part of being human. You have spent years giving your time, your energy, your love to others. You've been strong for so long. And now, when things become still, it's natural to feel a shift, to feel a gap, to feel that something is missing. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. Loneliness is not just about being alone. It's about feeling disconnected. And the good news is, connection can be rebuilt. Peace can be rediscovered. And your life can feel full again, in ways you may not even expect. I want to share something with you. Something simple, but powerful. Inner peace does not come from having more people around you. It comes from how you relate to yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you spend your time, and how you choose to see your life. Right now, you may be looking at your life and thinking, the best parts are behind me. But what if that's not true? What if this phase of your life is not about loss, but about rediscovery? Think about it. For decades, your life may have been filled with responsibilities, work, family, obligations, deadlines. You were needed everywhere. And now, for the first time in a long time, there is space. And I know that space can feel uncomfortable at first, even painful. But within that space, there is also freedom. Freedom to reconnect with yourself. Freedom to slow down. Freedom to explore what truly brings you peace. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something just for yourself? Not because you had to, not because someone expected it, but simply because it made you feel calm, or happy, or alive. Maybe it's been a while, and that's okay, because starting today, you can begin again. Inner peace is not something you find overnight. It's something you build gently, patiently, one small step at a time. And it starts with how you treat yourself. Many people in this stage of life carry regrets, things they wish they had done differently, words they wish they had said, opportunities they wish they had taken. And those thoughts, they can become heavy. But holding on to regret is like carrying a weight that no longer serves you. You cannot go back and change the past, but you can choose how you live today. What if, instead of looking back with pain, you began to look back with understanding? What if you said to yourself, I did the best I could with what I knew at the time? Because you did. You truly did. And you deserve compassion, especially from yourself. Now, let's talk about something very real. The feeling of being alone in your own home. The quiet mornings, the evenings that seem too long, This is where many people struggle the most. But here's a shift that can change everything. Being alone does not have to mean being lonely. There is a difference. Being alone is a situation. Loneliness is a feeling, and feelings can be changed. You can begin to transform your alone time into something meaningful. Instead of seeing it as emptiness, you can begin to see it as space. Space to think, to reflect, to grow, to reconnect with parts of yourself that may have been forgotten. Maybe there was something you always wanted to try, reading more books, writing your thoughts, learning something new, even something as simple as taking a walk and noticing the world around you. Peace often comes from simple moments, not big events, not grand achievements, but quiet, meaningful experiences. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the sound of birds in the morning, a cup of tea in silence. These moments may seem small, but they are powerful because they bring you back to the present moment. And peace always lives in the present. Now, I want to lift you up a little because you deserve that. You are still here. You have made it through so much in your life. Challenges, changes, losses, victories. You have a strength within you that many people don't even realize. And that strength did not disappear. It's still there, waiting to be used in a new way. This stage of your life is not about doing less. It's about doing what matters more. You don't have to rush anymore. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You have the opportunity now to create a life that feels peaceful, meaningful, and true to who you are. And yes, it may feel difficult at first. Change always does. But even the smallest step forward is still progress. So let's make this practical. Let's make this real. Starting today, I want you to try a few simple things. First, begin your day with intention. When you wake up, don't immediately think about what's missing. Instead, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today that will bring me a little peace? It could be something very small. A short walk, calling someone, listening to music, sitting quietly for a few minutes. Second, talk to yourself with kindness. The way you speak to yourself matters more than anything. If you constantly tell yourself that you are alone, that life is empty, that nothing will change, your mind will believe it. But if you gently begin to say, I am learning to find peace, I am still growing, my life still has meaning, something begins to shift inside you. Third, reconnect with the world, even in small ways. You don't have to make big changes. Even a short conversation with a neighbor, a visit to a local place, or simply being around people can make a difference. Connection doesn't have to be deep to be meaningful. Even small moments of human interaction can warm the heart. And finally, give yourself something to look forward to. It doesn't have to be big. It could be watching something you enjoy, planning a simple activity, or even setting a small goal for the week. Hope grows when you have something ahead of you. Now, before I close this part, I want to leave you with something powerful. Your life still matters. Your presence still matters. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. And you are not alone, even if it feels that way sometimes. Peace is not something that comes from outside. It begins within you, and it grows slowly, gently, as you begin to care for yourself again. So take this moment right now and remind yourself, I am still here, and my story is not over. And if this message spoke to your heart, stay with me for the next part, because we're going to go deeper, and I'm going to show you how to rebuild connection, not just with others, but with yourself in a way that feels real and lasting. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe because this journey we're starting together, it's one that can truly change how you feel every single day. Now, I want you to imagine something simple. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and not feeling that same heaviness in your chest. Imagine your day starting with a small sense of calm. Not perfect happiness, but a quiet, steady peace. That kind of change doesn't come from something big or sudden. It comes from small shifts, repeated gently every single day. And in this part, I want to walk with you through one of the most important changes you can make, rebuilding your connection with yourself. Because here's something many people don't realize. After years of focusing on others, many seniors slowly lose touch with who they are without roles. Without being a parent, a worker, a caregiver, the question becomes, who am I now? And that question can feel uncomfortable, even scary. But it can also be the beginning of something beautiful. You are not just your past roles. You are a human being with thoughts, feelings, memories, and a unique inner world that still has so much depth. And reconnecting with that part of yourself is one of the most powerful ways to move from loneliness to peace. Let's start with something very simple. Your thoughts. Many people don't notice how often their mind drifts into negative patterns. Thoughts like, no one needs me anymore. I'm too old to change. Life is just passing by now. And the more these thoughts repeat, the more real they start to feel. But here's the truth. Not every thought you have is true. Some thoughts are just habits your mind has learned over time. And just like any habit, they can be changed. The first step is awareness. Just noticing when these thoughts appear. Not fighting them, not judging yourself. Just quietly saying, I see this thought. That alone creates space. And in that space, you have a choice. You can begin to replace those thoughts with something more supportive. Not unrealistic positivity, but gentle truth. Instead of, I am alone, you might say, I am learning to enjoy my own company. Instead of, nothing will change, you might say, small changes are already beginning. It may feel strange at first, but over time, this practice reshapes how you experience your days. Now let's go deeper into something even more important. How you spend your time. Time can either feel like a burden, or it can become a gift. And the difference lies in intention. When there is no structure, days can feel empty. Hours pass without meaning. And that's when loneliness grows stronger. But when you give your day even a small sense of direction, something begins to shift. You don't need a strict schedule. You don't need to fill every hour. But having a few simple anchors in your day can create stability. For example, a morning routine, something calm and consistent. Maybe you sit by a window with your tea. Maybe you stretch your body gently. Maybe you listen to something that brings you comfort. This tells your mind, my day has started with care. Then, somewhere in your day, include one meaningful activity. It doesn't have to be big. It could be reading a few pages of a book, writing down your thoughts, organizing something in your home, or even learning something new. When you engage your mind, you reduce the space where loneliness can grow. And then, give yourself moments of rest without guilt. Many people feel that if they are not busy, they are wasting time. But at this stage of life, rest is not a weakness. It's part of peace. Sitting quietly, reflecting, even doing nothing can be deeply healing when you allow it without negative judgment. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked in your environment. The space around you has a powerful effect on how you feel inside. If your surroundings feel dull, cluttered, or unchanged for years, it can quietly affect your mood. You don't need to make big changes. Even small adjustments can bring new energy. Open a window and let fresh air in. Move a chair to a new spot. Add something that brings you comfort. A plant, a photo, a light. These small changes signal something important to your mind, that life is still moving, still evolving, and so are you. Now I want to address something deeper: emotional connection. You may feel that meaningful relationships are harder to find now, that people are busy, that the world has changed, that connections are not the same as before. And in some ways, that's true. But connection has not disappeared. It has simply changed form. Connection doesn't always mean long conversations or deep friendships. It can exist in small moments: a smile exchanged with someone, a brief conversation, a shared moment of kindness. These may seem small, but they matter more than you think. And here's something important. You don't have to wait for others to reach out first. Sometimes, taking a small step, even something as simple as saying hello, can open the door to connection. It may feel uncomfortable at first. That's normal. But courage doesn't mean being fearless. It means taking a step, even when it feels uncertain. And each small step builds confidence. Now, let me lift you again, because this is where something powerful begins to grow. You have something that younger people don't experience: wisdom, perspective. You have lived through changes, challenges, and moments that shaped you into who you are today. And that has value. Even if it feels like the world is moving fast, your presence, your story, your voice, they still matter. Sometimes, sharing even a small part of your story with anyone can create a sense of purpose. Because purpose doesn't come from being needed by many people. It can come from being present, even in one small moment. Now let's bring this into action again. Simple, real steps you can begin today. First, spend 10 minutes each day in quiet reflection. No distractions, just sit with yourself. Notice your thoughts, let them come and go. Second, choose one small activity each day that engages your mind or body. Something intentional. Third, make one small effort to connect. It could be a conversation, a message, or even just being around others. And fourth, change one small thing in your environment this week. Something that brings freshness into your space. These steps may seem simple, but consistency is what creates change. You don't need to transform your life overnight. You just need to begin. And now, as we come to the end of this part, I want you to hold on to this feeling. You are not stuck. You are not fading. You are evolving into a different phase of life, one that can be filled with calm, clarity, and meaning if you allow it. Peace is not something far away. It's something you begin building, moment by moment. And in the next part, we're going to go even deeper into how to rebuild emotional strength, how to let go of the past in a healthy way, and how to create a sense of purpose that feels real again. So, stay with me. And if you're finding value in this, make sure you subscribe and continue this journey with me. Now I want to talk to you about something deeper, something many people carry quietly without ever speaking about it. Emotional weight. Not just loneliness, but the memories, the regrets, the losses, the what-ifs, the moments that still live in your mind. Even after so many years, you may find yourself thinking about people who are no longer here, conversations that were never finished, opportunities that slipped away, or choices you wish you had made differently. And sometimes, these thoughts don't just visit, they stay. They sit with you in the quiet moments, especially at night, or in the early morning when everything is still. And over time, they can become heavy. But I want to tell you something honestly. Holding onto that emotional weight is not a sign of love, and it's not a sign of strength. It's a sign that your heart has not been given the chance to heal. You don't need to carry everything forever. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean that those moments didn't matter. It simply means you are choosing peace over pain. And that choice is one of the most powerful decisions you can make at this stage of your life. Let's take this slowly, because this part matters. Think about one thing from your past that still feels unresolved. It could be a person, a mistake, a regret, anything that still brings a small ache when you think about it. Now, instead of pushing it away, I want you to face it gently, not with judgment, but with understanding. Ask yourself, what was I feeling at that time? What did I need back then? What was I going through? Because when you begin to see your past self with compassion, something changes. You stop blaming yourself, and you start understanding yourself. And that is where healing begins. Many people are harder on themselves than they would ever be on anyone else. They hold themselves to a standard of perfection, even for decisions made years ago, under completely different circumstances. But you were human then, just as you are now. You did not know everything. You were learning. You were doing your best. And it's time to allow yourself that truth. Now here's something important. Forgiveness. This word can feel complicated, sometimes even uncomfortable. But forgiveness is not about saying something was okay. It's not about agreeing with what happened. It's about freeing yourself from carrying the pain. You can forgive someone without speaking to them. You can forgive a situation without changing it. And you can forgive yourself without needing anyone else's permission. Try this quietly, in your own time. Say to yourself, I release this. I choose peace. It may not feel real at first. That's okay. Healing is not instant. It's a process. But every time you repeat that intention, you loosen the hold that the past has on you. Now let's talk about loss. Because for many people, loneliness is deeply connected to loss. Loss of loved ones, loss of routines, loss of identity, and grief. It doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't disappear just because time has passed. Sometimes it returns in waves, unexpected and strong. If you've experienced this, I want you to know there is no right way to feel. You are allowed to miss people. You are allowed to feel sadness. Those emotions are not weaknesses. They are reflections of love. But at the same time, your life is still here. And honoring your past does not mean losing your present. You can carry love for those who are gone, while still allowing yourself to experience peace, even joy, today. Both can exist together. Now, I want to shift your perspective gently from what has been lost to what still remains. You are still here. You still have time. Time to think. Time to feel. Time to experience small, meaningful moments. And maybe time to discover something new about yourself. Purpose is something many people struggle with in this stage of life. When roles change, when responsibilities reduce, it can feel like there is nothing left to do. But purpose is not always something big. It doesn't have to be a job, or a title, or something recognized by others. Purpose can be simple: taking care of your well-being, being kind to someone, sharing your thoughts, learning something new, even choosing to grow emotionally. That itself is a purpose. And when you begin to see purpose in small actions, your days start to feel different. They feel intentional. They feel alive. Now let me lift you again, because this part matters deeply. You are not defined by what you lost. You are not defined by your past mistakes. You are not defined by how others treated you or what didn't work out. You are defined by who you choose to be today. And today, you have the ability to choose peace. Even if it's just a little, even if it's just for a few moments, that still counts. That still matters. Now let's bring this into simple action, because real change comes from what you do next. First, take a few minutes each day to reflect on your past with compassion, not criticism. Just observe and gently understand. Second, practice letting go. Choose one small thing you're ready to release and remind yourself daily that you are allowed to move forward. Third, create space for new meaning. Do something small that gives your day purpose, even if it feels simple. And fourth, allow yourself to feel without judgment. Whether it's sadness, calm, or even moments of happiness, accept them as they come. This is how emotional strength is rebuilt. Not through force, but through patience, awareness, and kindness toward yourself. And as we come to the end of this part, I want you to take a deep breath and feel this moment. You are not trapped in your past. You are not too late to find peace. You are in a position right now to begin again, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. And in the next part, we're going to bring everything together. We'll talk about how to create daily habits that build lasting inner peace, and how to move forward with a quiet confidence that feels real. So stay with me. Keep going. And if this is helping you even a little, make sure you subscribe and continue this journey with me. Now, let's bring everything together, slowly, gently, in a way that feels real for you. By now, you've started to see something important. Your life is not empty. It has simply changed shape. And within this new shape, there is still space for peace, meaning, and even quiet happiness. But peace doesn't come from thinking about it once. It comes from what you do every single day, in small, consistent ways. So let's talk about how to build that kind of life. Not a perfect life, but a peaceful one. Think of your day as a rhythm, not something to rush through, but something to move through with awareness. When you wake up, don't rush into thoughts of the past or worries about the future. Just sit for a moment. Feel your breath. Notice that you are here, alive, present. That alone is a powerful beginning. Then, as your day unfolds, return to the idea of intention. You don't need a long list of tasks. Just one or two meaningful actions are enough. Maybe you step outside and feel the fresh air. Maybe you read something that brings you calm. Maybe you speak to someone, even briefly. These are not small things. These are the building blocks of peace. And as you move through your day, I want you to remember something very simple. Slow down. There is no race anymore. No deadlines that define your worth. You are allowed to move at your own pace now. Eat slowly. Walk slowly. Even your thoughts, let them slow down. Because peace cannot exist in a rushed mind. Now let's talk about something that completes this journey. Acceptance. Not the kind of acceptance that feels like giving up, but the kind that feels like understanding. Accepting that life has seasons, that things change, that people come and go, that your path has brought you here to this moment. And instead of resisting it, you begin to work with it. You begin to say, this is where I am, and I will make the most of it. That shift changes everything. Because when you stop fighting reality, you create space for peace to enter. Now, I want to speak directly to your heart for a moment. You may not hear this often, but it matters. Your life still has value, not because of what you do, not because of how busy you are, but simply because you are here. Your presence matters. Your story matters. Even your quiet moments, they matter. You don't need a crowd to prove that your life is meaningful. Sometimes, the most meaningful life is a peaceful one. A life where you wake up without heaviness, where you move through your day with calm, where you sleep at night with a quiet mind. That kind of life is not small. It is powerful. Now, let's make this very clear and practical. Something you can carry forward from today. Each morning, begin with one calm moment. Each day, choose one meaningful action. Each evening, let go of what you cannot control. That's it. If you do just these 3 things, again and again, your life will begin to feel different. Not overnight, but steadily, gently, in a way that lasts. And when difficult moments come, because they will, don't see them as failure. See them as part of the journey. Just return, again and again, to your breath, to your awareness, to your intention. That is how peace is built. Now, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause and really feel this. You are not alone in this world. You are part of something bigger, even if it doesn't always feel that way. And most importantly, you have yourself, your thoughts, your awareness, your ability to choose how you respond to life. That is always with you. And that is where your true strength lives. So, from today, don't look at this stage of your life as something to endure. See it as something to shape, gently, patiently, one day at a time. Because inner peace is not something reserved for a few people. It is something you can create right where you are. And I truly hope that from this moment forward, you begin to feel just a little lighter, a little calmer, a little more at peace within yourself. If this message touched your heart, stay connected. There is so much more we can explore together. More ways to bring calm into your life. More ways to feel strong again. More ways to rediscover meaning. So take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and join me in the next video, because this journey, your journey, it's not over. In many ways, it's just beginning.